It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. We'd like to hear from you as well on the Young Power Sports text line, 435-339-0321. And, great game last night for the Aggies. It was kind of tight in the first half. It was kind of back and forth a little bit. But the second half, Aggies just really pulled away, up by 24 points at some point. At one point later in the game.
A couple points.
And, it's true. They were up by 20 or more for a good stretch there in the second half. Guys that you rarely see on the court in an Aggie uniform got to see the court a little bit. Kind of the human victory cigar, as you like to refer to them.
Yeah, I didn't come up with that term either, but I stole it from somebody. I can't remember who. But I know the herd started chanting, "We want Jackson." Yeah. And then it wasn't too long after they started chanting that, and there was they were going under a minute left when they were chanting that. And I was like, is he going to get in? Like he wasn't even at the scorer's table. I think maybe Tucker was somebody was at the scorer's table, but Jackson wasn't. It's like, is he going to get in? Then I saw him get up, then go to the scorer's table. They sent Isaac Johnson there as well. So yeah, it's always nice to get those, that 1 minute of play there and a chance to get out there on the court and finish the game.
Yeah, nice to see that. We saw Isaac Davis. We haven't seen him in a little while.
Yeah, he's been in concussion protocol for a while, and he got sick.
He got sick.
He got a double whammy.
So, good game for the Aggies. Offensive explosion, good defense as well, and getting back on track after a month, really, of tight games, just one after another for Utah State. And, again, always interested to see how this team responds after a loss, and they have answered that call very well each time.
Yeah.
Played very solid basketball each time after their two losses. And, again, that speaks to coaching and the adjustments this coaching staff does, how they get their players ready, but also to the players themselves on how they take that. But also, we can't overstate how important it was for this team to have some time off because of sickness and just players just were running ragged. So how long until it starts to regress back to the guys are just running around a lot and a lot of tight games?
I hope that they don't get back to a point where they can only be in these tight games. Just because, you're not going to get any more of these big periods of rest. I think they might. I'm sure they have another one at some point where they're going to get a bit of time off. Well, I'm looking here, and there's, I'm trying to see what the longest break. It's usually 3 or 4 days, basically between every game until you got February 26th to March 1st. Well, it's only like 3 days still because there's only 28 days in February. So, you get a week between your last 2 games of the season, regular season. March 1st, Colorado State. March 8th, against Air Force. So you've got a month-ish, where you're just going to play a game every 3 or 4 days. So you're not going to get another bit of rest. So you can't rely on rest to make you a better team. You got to go out there and be able to play even if you're a little tired. Hopefully you won't be sick, but if you're a little tired, if you're a little beat up, a lot of guys have minor injuries at this point in the season. They're wearing, the little heating back brace thing. They got a brace on their ankle, or they got their elbow wrapped up,
right? Sleeves,
or something on their wrist is taped up because they fell on it awkwardly in practice the other day. You're all going to have all these different minor injuries and bumps and bruises and fatigue from the season, and you're going to have to be able to play through that. And especially with their style, where they're flying around the court, that's who they are. We saw them at their best, like. This fly-around style has been at its best early in the year when they had 3 straight 100-point games, 4 straight 95-point games. And then we kind of saw a return to that against Nevada, where they win they scored 90 points in only like 60 possessions. Like, if they'd have played the normal 70, 75 possessions they're in, they would have scored 100. But they were slowed down in that sense. So they're going to have to go out there and play good games when they're a little banged up, when they have a quick turnaround, when they don't have a ton of time to rest. So for the most part, we've seen them do that, though. Because, like, you look over after the, UC San Diego loss, they go 6 straight wins, all of them relatively close games. St. Mary's was kind of deceptively close, where they just controlled that game for the most part and were 9 or 10 points ahead, and then it gets shaved down to 7 kind of at the last minute. But then, the 5 straight games, some of them were within 1 possession. San Diego State coming down to a game-winning shot in the last seconds. Boise State the same. Close games against Nevada, Fresno, San Jose. Like, we've seen them go out there and win these close games. So it's not like it's a worry if the Aggies end up in close games, because they're pretty good at clutching it out. You just don't want the loss to come, another loss to come at the wrong time. You don't want to only be winning, close games. You're fine with close games against New Mexico and, Colorado State and Boise State. Even an occasional close game against somebody you weren't expecting, but you don't want that one to be every single game.
Right. And I think that just may be a bit mentally fatiguing for the team over the last 30 days.
Yeah.
It seemed like most of these games were they were just really tight.
Yeah, and that's where the benefit of this type of game comes in, because, for most of that second half, you're not having to put in a ton of effort. They were still putting in a decent amount of effort, so they're trying to, finish the game. But, instead of having your, star players playing 37, 38, or dang near every minute of a game because you can't afford to get them off the court, the Aggies' highest minute getter in this game was Mason Falslev, and he had 34. Only one other player played more than 30 minutes, and that was Ian. He played 31. Like, usually those guys are in tight games. They play 37, 38, sometimes even 40 minutes. And not one of them cracked 34. So that can be valuable, not just in they're playing fewer minutes, but even later in the game, they're not having to go as hard because you got a 20-point lead and you're about to get subbed out. So you can afford to not go completely all out on every single possession. And when you have a few more of these games, that's just that little bit of wear and tear that you're not having. And so that's the value of not getting into too many of these close games, especially against teams that you don't expect. Like, they shouldn't have been in a close game to San Jose or Fresno. Shouldn't have been as close to UNLV. It can happen occasionally. There's nothing wrong with having an occasionally close game against one of those teams. It's that it happened against every single one of them that was kind of the issue.
And I think you have to throw in Wyoming in there as well.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about them as well. So it's just like every single one of them. Like, you got to blow out somebody eventually if you're a good team, and it has a lot of benefits, even aside from, the obvious boost in metrics that you get from blowing a good team out.
Yeah. But it also, what happened last night is good for this illustrating the team depth that this team has and its versatility. When even if Mason Falslev isn't really shooting the ball particularly well, he's still impacting the game in so many different ways. Drake Allen coming off the bench and playing really, really well. Dexter Ricano, super solid. And so there's just a lot of different guys that can play different roles for this team when they're healthy. They don't have a weird, flu bug or whatever it is that's going around the team, causing them to miss time or just not be that effective over the course of the game. So it was an important one for them to get their legs back underneath them, get a win, gain some confidence again, and get ready for more games because they got to turn around and head back out on the road. Air Force has not won a game in conference play, but you would not have really known that by watching what was taking place at the Academy last night when they took San Diego State to the wire.
Yeah, before we dive into that, I do want to actually get to the full court, the Young Power Sports, the Young Power Sports text line, because we got a lot of texts coming in here.
Yes.
Want to get to these. So let's see. We read that one from A968. So 5374 saying all these lower tier Mountain West teams are really ruining our strength of schedule ones. Yeah. The strength of schedule from the Mountain West isn't going to be as good for the Aggies. Luckily, they did a lot of their, unlike previous years where it's like Utah State was a like fringe NCAA tournament team, and then they got in as an at-large in most cases because of their Mountain West schedule. It's actually kind of flipped this year. They did so well in non-conference play, got some quality wins. They were considered a tournament team, and the only way they're not going to do is if they blow it in Mountain West play, where Mountain West teams aren't going to raise their resume, but unfortunately it can hurt their resumes. We've actually kind of already seen falling from a 6 seed to a 7 seed with the one loss.
Yeah. Speaking of rankings and just looking at things like that, the net rankings, the updated from games played last night, Utah State moved up 3 spots for their win.
Yeah, it's hard to move up once you get into the 40s and 30s. It's just really hard to move up. It's easy to move down. It's hard to move up.
Yeah, at least they moved up with a win.
That's true. Sometimes
San Diego State cannot claim the same.
Well, there's a big reason for that. Utah State fell after some of their wins.
Yes.
Excuse me.
That is true. A
few more texts. 6543. Alford seems like he's losing interest in the season. I mean, if I saw my team playing like that, I might lose a bit of interest too. And I mean, how can he retain interest? They don't have a band. They can't get a band to come to their game.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Lawler.
But they didn't have a band, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe it's just not in the same level.
Like if you put Nevada in Lawler with the band, they are unbeatable.
Maybe it's a different story.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, look, I'd be frustrated. He had so many games that were close, very winnable games that they lost. They started winning some games. Granted, those were against the lower tier of the Mountain West. But, they just were totally outclassed last night. And so I would be frustrated too. I'd be losing interest. Like, where are we going?
Yeah, it's like what we're doing. Of course, Boise State, they're going through it too. But
yes,
we'll get that in a second. 6391 saying, the game went just how I said I wanted it to when I texted on Monday. Never in doubt and all the good chants. Very pleased. I will say 6391, when I heard the up by 20 chant, I thought of you. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't remember your number specifically, but I was like, one of our texters said they wanted to hear up by 20, and there it is.
There it is.
So it was a fun little moment.
Made an appearance. Yes. Very good. 6391. You manifested it.
Yeah, basically. It's all 6391.
Yes. 2945. Question I've had all year, and you guys are in the media space, so maybe you know. Why can't we get the audio right in the Spectrum? Audio is horrible. You can't understand it. Hype videos sound like it's played off a speakerphone. To top it off, the audio still can't match the video on the Jumbotron. It's been that way for years. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I think for one, I think the audio just probably sounds better from where I'm sitting because I don't notice it as much. Maybe I'm just lucky where it sounds okay on the floor. I have noticed a lot of people complain about it though, so maybe I just have low standards and don't hold people that. Unfortunately, I don't talk like the people I talk to in the athletic department or the media relations. I don't talk to the equipment or sound people very much. So I know they've been working on some fixes, but I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody specifically about that. Maybe it's something I can look into, but
yeah, I don't know. I
can ask around just see like, is it something they're working on? Because I believe there was some kind of fix they were trying to do this year, or like this past off season. I think there was something they were working on. And I thought it was supposed to, because again, it was something that kept coming up. People kept saying the sound system is awful. I thought they tried to address it, but those same complaints have still been happening. So clearly it's not better.
Yeah, I know the scoreboard issue was a thing.
The biggest issue I had though was when they were doing the preseason, what do they call it? The Aggie Madness, that's what it was. Where they had the MC guy trying to hype up
announcer.
Yeah. Well, it was the guy that comes out and walks on the court.
Oh, right.
And that hype guy where they were playing music and he was speaking into his microphone. I couldn't hear a dang thing he said the entire time. It was.
Yeah, it's a bad combination.
Yeah. So, but that seemed more like of an oversight of playing music while he's trying to speak, although his microphone was really quiet. So I don't know. It's something that they got to get fixed because you got to have all aspects of Spectrum Magic firing on all cylinders.
Yes. 9315. Do you think Air Force used up all their resources against San Diego State, so they won't put up a big of a fight on Saturday? and would be really bad if USU doesn't win that game. A huge post is that the odds are extremely low that a flu bug hits the team this year. I think that's a huge benefit to finish the season with an impressive play and record.
Yeah, hopefully the sickness doesn't hit everyone again. The funny thing is it hit both the team and the media. Like half the media got sick too. I got sick. So there's another guy that got sick.
It hit the coaching staff too.
Hit the coaching staff. So it seems, I don't know if we passed it between each other, like between the media and coaches and players and all that. But and of course it didn't hit. Like seems like everyone I know either got sick or knew somebody who got sick in the last month.
Yes,
it's kind of ridiculous. I'm finally getting over it. I still have a bit of a cough, but like the lingering impacts are finally going away.
Yeah, it's been around. But you're right. If you're going to get sick and have that go through your team, better to do it earlier than later. 1623. I saw a tweet that was the Avengers meme when the dialogue goes, "We have an army," and Calhoun was Iron Man that says, "We have a band."
Yeah, I know. It was. I think it was Logan Weber who replied to me with that, and I was like, "Why are you replying to me? This is like gold. You should be tweeting this on your own.
Should be shared.
Like, this deserves to not be hidden in the replies of one of my random tweets." Like that was one of the best tweets of the night. I loved all the references to the band. Like the herd was even chanting. Like the first time they did the chant, I didn't understand what they were saying, and then it came back, and they were pointing to their band, and they would say D1 band, D1 band. Having a Division I band at the game, so it was just funny. And then there was another guy who had a sign like something like "crazy what a band can do" or something to that effect.
Nice.
So a lot of wonderful jabs at Steve Alford for whining that they didn't have a band, and it's like suddenly, oh, is that why we lost? It's like, no, you lost because Utah State beat you twice.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Because your team's just not as good. That's why.
It's just how it be. It's not. We didn't play at Lawler. It's not the band. Utah State is a better team.
Very true. So that wasn't the only game in action last night in the Mountain West. It was perhaps the least interesting to the wire game.
Yeah, at least
you want to put it that way.
Least interesting to the casual viewer,
because the other two games literally had last-second shots to determine the games.
Yeah, one of them it was a buzzer beater, and the other was a shot with like 2.5-4 seconds left. And yes, and apparently I have cursed San Diego State a couple of times because what did I say before the UNLV game? I said that UNLV they would be a little high on beating Utah State, and San Diego State would like roll them by 20. And then yesterday we were talking about how the San Diego State Air Force game might be a bit of a snoozer, and I said, yeah, they'll be up by 20. And what happened in those two games?
Well, they lost one and nearly lost the other.
So maybe San Diego State fans probably ought to be telling me to shut up about their team winning by 20 plus points, because I am apparently a kiss of death to them.
Yeah, San Diego State was in a dogfight against the Air Force Falcons, and it went to overtime. It wasn't like, they had this crazy late rally or anything like this. It was close pretty much the entire game. And Air Force has played them tough. They had a couple different guys score. They had two starters who scored 20 or more points. It was a back and forth battle for pretty much the entire game. There was a stretch where San Diego State started to pull away a little bit early in the second half. They had a 10-point lead, but they couldn't hold it. They went ice cold. Air Force clawed their way back into it, and they forced overtime, and it looked like Air Force was going to win the game, and San Diego State inbounds the ball. Wayne McKinney, the third, has like 4 seconds to get up and down the court, makes some great jukes, and has a great screen set for him, and gets to the cup and lays it in just as the buzzer sounds. And San Diego State escapes with a 1-point win at Air Force.
Yeah, well, it was such a weird play to watch because I think everyone, including myself, and I was actually up there in the media room with a couple of the guys who were writing their recaps, and we were all like, what the heck is going on with this game? And I pulled it up on my phone. We were all done writing our recaps at that point, so we were able to focus on it. I was actually waiting for the end because I was going to write a note because I noticed how close it was, and I was going to make a note in my recap about it. Is kind of a here's what's next for Utah State. Air Force nearly beats San Diego State, but I nearly had to change that paragraph. And so I was watching the game so I could make that note. And then, we were watching the last few minutes of overtime. But then just that play, like you think, okay, they're going to shoot a jump shot because 4 seconds left, that's definitely enough time to get into the front court. It's a surprisingly long amount of time, 4 seconds. And you think, okay, but he's going to shoot like a pull-up three-pointer or something like that. Because, Air Force was leading like 76-75. So, any bucket wins. But I think Air Force definitely expected them because, as you said, McKinney, he gets the ball, and I don't know if he made too many juke moves. He just ran to the bucket. He ran like 3/4 of the court.
He got a screen.
He did get a screen, but
about half court, a little bit in front of half court.
But even
he kind of feints like he's going to go left.
Yeah.
But then he goes right to hug the sideline, and the Air Force player just stops in his tracks and gets out of balance. And so now he's got a clear path to the hoop.
Yeah, he ran by like 3 different guys, all of whom took poor angles. One of them got screened, obviously. Just never stopped the ball. Like, job number 1 on any defensive possession is stop the ball. Don't let him get to the bucket.
Take away his lane, yes.
Yeah, and so it's just make him do anything. Even if he did juke to the left, well, let him juke to the left. Cut his line off from getting to the bucket. And it's just one of the most embarrassing defensive possessions I've seen in a while. I know they're trying their hardest not to foul because that was the second worst thing that could have happened on that possession.
Yes.
But in doing so, they let the worst thing happen. And that was a basically wide open layup at the rim to win the game. And San Diego State escapes with it just feels like they're incredibly lucky to have that happen. In a game that they probably should have lost, they get lucky. But Aggie fans shouldn't begrudge another team for getting lucky because it's happened to them a lot.
31 fouls for San Diego in that game. 2 guys fouled out.
Holy cow.
There were 3 other players who had 4 fouls. That was just a crazy, crazy game. 44 free throw attempts for the Air Force Falcons in that game last night. Just absolutely crazy. But Ethan Taylor scores 21. Wesley Chelikowski scores 22.
Is that how you say his name?
For the,
I guess you would know. You know how to pronounce all those
educated
names.
guess. But those were 2 guys for Air Force who played very well.
Chelikowski, he's the. We'll get into this later, but he is the anomaly for Air Force. He's a 7-footer.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Somehow he only got 2 rebounds in 34 minutes, but dude was 8 of 8 from the field, including a 3-pointer.
Yes.
I don't know what the context. I don't know if he's actually a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll scout more of that tomorrow. But for San Diego State, they went deep into the rotations, partially because they were so many guys in foul trouble. They had to.
They kind of had to. That may have been part of why they struggled late because they lost some of their big playmakers. I didn't watch the full game, so I can't give tons of analysis. I was kind of looking at the game in box score or Gamecast watching, and then finally being able to pull up some of the overtime when I'd finished up my article. But yeah, that seemed to be part of it, where they just couldn't find enough shot makers because 2 of their best shot makers, Miles Bird and Nick Boyd, were on the bench. And were not allowed back into the game.
Right.
They've been disqualified.
Yeah, so crazy finish in the Mountain West. Air Force has still yet to win a game in conference this season. They've only got 3 wins on the season overall. But, again, it can be tough to win in the Mountain West.
Sometimes teams just have a fantastic night against you. And if you're San Diego State, sometimes the wrong pair or trio of refs that are going to call literally everything, because they got called for 31 fouls. Air Force was in foul trouble too because they got called for 24. They had a guy foul out too.
Yeah.
So these referees just decided that nothing was allowed.
A lot of free throws in that game. 44 attempts from Air Force, 27 from San Diego.
That's like 40 too many.
That's way too many. We've got to take a time out here in the Full Court Press. That wasn't the only exciting finish in conference play last night. We'll tell you how the game went between Colorado State and Boise State next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
Many Aggie fans like to go to the game. Some fans love to yell at the TV, and all fans like to wear a shirt or a jacket with their favorite team's logo. Aggie fans find the best selection of USU logoed apparel at Locker 42. Find yourself an Aggie t-shirt for $10. Locker 42 features Aggie logoed hoodies, jackets, and golf shirts, and a hat wall with over 40 styles. Women's specific apparel, youth sizes for the junior Aggie, and toddler and infant Aggie items as well. Locker 42 is a store for Utah State fans by Utah State fans, and proud to be part of Aggie Nation.
This is Kyle at Advanced Door, and we guarantee every garage door we install for a lifetime, parts and labor. That's every door, every spring, every roller, every track, every motor. The entire garage door system guaranteed for a lifetime, parts and labor. We're Advanced Door, and we guarantee you'll be hearing this for a long time. Find out more at advanced-door.com. That's advanced-door.com.
Hi, Cache Valley. This is Dan Newmeyer at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly ARS. Do you know what to do if you are experiencing water flooding inside your home? First, make sure everyone is safe, turn off the water, and call Blue Sky. Do you know where the water shutoff is at in your home? If you don't, call Blue Sky and we'll send out a representative for free to help you find it and tag it so you can be prepared if an emergency arises. Remember Blue Sky, restoring your property and your life for a brighter tomorrow.
This is Brent Wallace with Cache Valley Bank, and we understand that concerns about fraud can weigh heavily on you. Your peace of mind is important to us. That's why we're committed to looking out for you and your family. Our team keeps a vigilant eye on your account, and if you ever have concerns or need support, we're just a call or visit away. Whether you need advice or just someone to talk to, our friendly staff is ready to help. We're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, and we care about your security. Visit your local branch today. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to Full Court Press. We apologize. We got a very shortened hour this hour.
And we didn't realize that, so...
Yes, it crept up on us. We got Utah Hockey Club. They're in action this evening. The game starts at 6, which means pregame coverage here on The Fan starts at 5:30. And so we'll have to break away here. And just a matter of seconds. But thanks for tuning in. We'll get into Pick 6 and a whole lot more previews of Utah State and Air Force tomorrow, as well as previewing what's going on with Region 11 and a lot of other things. Go check out our other shows on our podcast.
Rapid Radios, the official communication device of Fox Sports Radio, will keep you connected for big games this season with Rapid Radios walkie-talkies. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk devices with